Welcome back to the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm Aaron Brightman. This episode is brought to you by Knights of the Raritan, the Rutgers NIL Collective. Knights of the Raritan provides a unique way for athletic programs at Rutgers to be successful in the ever-changing NIL environment. Become a member today with Knights of the Raritan with a chance to win giveaways, unique experiences, exclusive event invites, and more. Their free newsletter keeps you up to date with all their goings-ons within Rutgers athletics and with the collective. I'll have the link in the description for this episode. And always, the purpose is to help Rutgers student athletes with NIL. So this episode, we're going to talk about Rutgers men's basketball. We're also going to talk about Rutgers baseball and also finishing up spring sports, Rutgers rowing and track and field. We'll touch on that at the end. But Rutgers basketball, we are now just a little over a week and a half until the team's first off-season workout, June 15th, and players are starting to get to campus now. Rutgers announcing via social media on Tuesday that PJ Hayes, the San Diego transfer, 6'6" wing, shot 40% from three last year. He has arrived. They showed video into Piscataway. And then also Dylan Grant, perhaps the most forgotten newcomer that Rutgers will be adding. Did not play high school basketball this last year, but was highly sought after. Had a tremendous year on the AAU circuit a year ago. I think he's a guy that, could play. He's got size. He's lean, but he looked pretty strong. I think he could play some four this year. He's going to be battling for minutes. There's certainly a ton of competition, but Dylan Grant, certainly a name not to sleep on. And I think, even after this coming season, the longer he stays at Rutgers, the more of an impact. I just think he's a guy that could really take a leap development-wise under the tutelage of this coaching staff. So we'll see what happens there. A little bit of transfer portal news. Ugonna Onyensu, the transfer from Kentucky, that was, rumored. There was that prediction tweet I've talked about a couple times. Some random account saying he was going to end up at Rutgers, and I was getting peppered with questions about, when's he coming to Rutgers? He never visited. I really think all that happened is Rutgers made a call. They inquired, they did the due diligence like they always do, and that's as far as it went. And all the final schools, he was supposed to go to North Carolina. There were some other schools on there, all big NIL schools, and he ultimately committed to Kansas State and Jerome Tang on Tuesday, and that's where he's going. So, he was in the NBA early entrant pool, and he withdrew last week, and now he's making a decision. Yes, it certainly would have been nice for Rutgers to add him, but I think the other thing too is a lot of times we look at these potential additions as on paper and how it fits just in terms of what the player's looking for, what the team is looking for, and how that's going to mesh. And Onyensu just seems like a guy that, really is so focused on the NBA. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's what Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper are focused on too. However, those are two of the top three recruits in the country, and Onyensu is not that. I think he'd be a very good player, and he's shown flashes. And don't get me wrong, this isn't sour grapes. I wish he ended up at Rutgers. But at the end of the day, because he didn't doesn't mean he was a perfect fit. And we'll get more into that. We'll see what Rutgers ultimately does with the roster. But I think now, you're basically 10 days until the team is together. We know that they're not going to get a big name out of the portal. Even non-big names seem to be, landing in some big spots, getting some big NIL paydays. If Rutgers does add someone, it's probably, they've been looking at high school prospects, Victor Mikic, Jamie Vincent, who committed to Texas the other day. So we'll see. But it seems like now the dead period's over. You haven't heard about any new visits. Very well could be that they go into the offseason workouts without another player on the roster, and they keep it at 12. And we'll get into what those implications are at the center position and, how I kind of see everything playing out. I'm going to have plenty of guests coming up soon, too. I really wanted to wait for the roster to be solidified. So more to come there, but that's where it's trending right now, I think. Just in terms of Onyensu off the board, Vincent off the board, Mikic has to visit. Whatever Rutgers ultimately does do, it doesn't seem like anything's going to happen in the imminent future. in terms of adding that 13th scholarship, and whether it be a big man or. And then some other Rutgers basketball news: the Jersey Shore Basketball League announcing on Tuesday that quite a bit Rutgers players are going to be back in the league. It's been a while since Rutgers is a big presence. This is a prestigious summer basketball league in New Jersey. It's been around since the 60s. They play at Manasquan High School. A lot of college players, former college players, even NBA players play in this league. Rutgers has a lot of guys involved in this summer league, which is great because the program's had a long history. A lot of players over the years play in the Jersey Basketball League. Mike Rice, when he was coach, a lot of his players played there. Two former Rutgers players that have played in this league before that are going to be playing again are Kadeem Jack and Miles Mack. The Jersey Shore Basketball League is going to be announcing the rosters each day now over the next week. So I'm not sure what team they're on yet, but they're definitely playing, as is Austin Williams after his Rutgers career ending. So that's three former Rutgers players. And then there's four players with Rutgers connections going to be on the two-time defending champs Stearns trailer of the Jersey Shore Basketball League. Geo Baker is back and going to play with two current Rutgers players, Zach Martini and Jordan Durkak, two Jersey guys. You got to love it. And Kevin Peichel, son of head coach Steve Peichel, also plays at CBA for former Rutgers guard Jeff Billett. So lots of Rutgers connections there. This is a really good team. They also have Shavar Reynolds and Miles Kale, formerly of Seton Hall, RJ Cole, who played for UConn, and current Portland Trailblazers center Moses Brown. That highlights the roster. They have some other players as well. And, these summer leagues, sometimes they don't play every game, but this is a great opportunity for Durkak and Martini to get some legit runs this summer with some competition. And just to see Rutgers guys, for fans, you can check out all the information in terms of this league at jsblhoops.com. They're also on all social media platforms in terms of the schedules for the teams. It's all there on their website. But, I was talking to Jersey Shore Basketball League. They think there's about 50 to 60 former Rutgers players that have played in the league. There was a little bit of gap of late, but the relationship is still strong with the program. Steve Peichel, all four these guys playing. Jermichael Davis potentially could end up on a roster, as well as some other players currently on the roster. They're still in talks there. So, I think it's just a great way to get real competition outside of, your workouts with your team. And, it has always been a fun league for fans in the summer to go attend. So I'll talk about it throughout the summer, but you check them out on JSBL Hoops. And like I said, Durkak, Martini, Geo Baker back in the mix. Good for him. And Kevin Peichel, a big spot for him entering his senior year. So just wanted to close talking about three spring sports. Rowing just finished up at nationals over the weekend. They finished 14th nationally. They had their varsity 4 boat finished 10th. Their second varsity 8 boat finished 14th. And their varsity 8 finished 15th, combined for 55 points. One more point and one more place ahead of last season's finish. Extremely consistent program under Justin Price. Their 5th consecutive appearance at the NCAA Championships have been very consistent in terms of being right around 15th year after year after year. So congratulations to them. In terms of track and field, the NCAA Outdoor Championships begin on Wednesday, June 5th in legendary Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon, now a Big Ten venue. And Rutgers has 4 student athletes participating, 2 on the men's side, 2 on the women's side, 4 different events, although 2 are in the long jump, 2 are in the pole vault. Most athletes they've had compete in terms of different events since 2018. On the men's side, you have Anand Bridget and Brian O'Sullivan. On the women's side, you have Celine Jada Brown and Chloe Timberg. O'Sullivan and Bridget compete on Wednesday, June 5th. The men's pole vault for O'Sullivan starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The long jump is at 9 p.m. All of this can be watched on ESPN2 on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the women compete. Chloe Timberg in the pole vault competes at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then Brown in the long jump at 10 p.m. Again, also ESPN2. I really am rooting for Chloe Timberg. I'm rooting for all of them. But Chloe Timberg had a really disappointing performance at Nationals last year. She's been tremendous in her Rutgers career. And, she she didn't win the Big Ten title like she has previously. She competed pretty well at regionals, but I kind of feel like she's due a monster performance in Eugene, Oregon. And I really hope for her that she does because she's such a hard worker and has had such a great career, just hasn't had the performances at nationals that she's wanted. So let's see what happens there. And Bridget, this is his third appearance at NCAA Outdoor Championships. He missed last season due to an injury. And then Brown, this is her nationals debut, as well as O'Sullivan. So rooting for those Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And then I wanted to end on baseball. Christian Coppola, former first team All Big Ten, standout freshman campaign a year ago, really struggled this past season, finished with an ERA over 7, had a losing record, and entered the transfer portal per reports this week. Very disappointing. Obviously, ton of potential, pitched for Team USA last summer. Was looking forward to seeing him turning the page, and Rutgers in the process of hiring a new pitching coach and to see what they could do with Christian Coppola. But ultimately, he decided not to stick around. You have to wish him well, but unfortunate the way going that just the hope for his ability to take another step forward this season and to have it end this way is obviously a disappointment. But wishing him well. And ultimately, Steve Owens still searching for that pitching coach. Whoever it is has a big job ahead of them in terms of rebuilding this pitching staff and getting it to a level. Listen, Rutgers beat UConn 2 out of 3 earlier this season, and UConn just beat Oklahoma in regionals to advance to super regionals. They had a losing record for a good first month of the season. Rutgers has struggled with them in the past. They finally beat them in a series. Didn't look like UConn was going to go anywhere, and then all of a sudden they're on a run. And so it just shows that Rutgers does have talent. They just couldn't have that consistency on the mound last season. So need a pitching coach to foster that, to develop that. They need to recruit. They need to get top arms in the program, and they're going to need help with NIL for that. So please consider that when you talk about Knights of the Raritan. And overall, listen. Talked about football, all the preseason projections, FPI, Football Power Index on my last episode. Now we're talking about hoops, just less than 2 weeks out from summer workouts beginning. Things are really getting exciting here the first week of June, and appreciate you spending your time with me once again. And I will talk to you tomorrow.